G'day, it's Disco here, and it's very exciting to have Jason Ball here. Jason, you're here for Pride Cup, and we've just announced on Thursday night after training that we're going to be a Pride Cup participating club. How exciting is that for the Pride Cup organisation, and how proud should we be?
Oh, look, it's great for us because when it comes to the Hamilton game, you guys absolutely took it up another level when you had your game last year. Hamilton's the biggest town that had ever done such a game. And the impact that you guys had on the community and the way that the community rallied behind the game, that had ripple effects throughout our entire state. And it actually inspired even more clubs to do such games. And the idea of getting in part of the Pride Cup model will mean that you'll have a Pride Cup, which both teams will be playing for on the day. So, who doesn't want an extra piece of silverware in the club rooms? And also being part of a brand that is growing and that is being rolled out in more and more clubs all the time, because what we've seen is that by holding games like this, it really has a huge impact on a local community, because footy clubs and netball clubs, they're leaders in their community, they're the heart of their community, and when they show leadership on this issue, it has a massive impact.
That's one of the things, like you said, we had a pretty big game last year and a lot of people come and watch us, but we sort of forget it the week after that how much probably impact it did have through the state, and we just knew it had a great impact here in our community, and a lot of people were still talking about within our town boundaries, but the ripple effect is pretty impressive. Yeah,
look, I see people in Melbourne wearing a rainbow Hamilton jumper or a rainbow Darwin or Melbourne Uni jumper. Those things went like hotcakes. Everyone wanted them. Everyone I knew who grew up in Hamilton, who maybe moved away from Hamilton, because they didn't have a good time coming out here when they were younger, when they came back for your game, they felt accepted and they felt included, and that was a really positive experience for them. And there are more towns out there who can be part of that, and we want to be able to take the learnings from your game and be able to roll that out across not just the whole state but the whole country.
One of the things you said when you were growing up in Yarra Glen and playing for the Yarra Glen Football Club, you sort of were a bit afraid that they wouldn't understand or accept, but little did you realise they did. And do you think it's probably an unfair stigma put on football and netball clubs that we don't understand?
Look, I think what I would say on that is that there is a lot of homophobic language that gets used around footy clubs, but what I've learned and what most people have learned is it's not coming from a bad place. It's actually accidental, that it's not intended to cause harm, but the reality is it does cause harm, and it does make people feel like a football club isn't going to be a space that's welcoming for them. And at the end of the day, because it's not being done intentionally, it's actually not that hard to change. And so, as part of the session tonight, it was all about educating players about, the use of homophobic language, how to cut it out, how to stick up for others when they stand up against that language, because that's the first thing, that needs to change in a culture, because there are, LGBTI people out there, they want to get involved in sporting clubs, whether as players or as volunteers or as supporters or as sponsors even. And so there's a lot of good reasons. It makes sense from the club's perspective to change that culture and welcome those people in.
Jason, thank you very much for driving 4 hours to come and have that talk with us, and we welcome everyone to come to the Hamilton Pride and Inclusion Day on Saturday, June the 23rd, and we look forward to the town being decorated with rainbow. We enjoy other people coming wearing their rainbow scarves and their rainbow jumpers, and we're going to have a really good time, aren't we?
Absolutely, it's going to be great. You're going to have the women's teams there, and go Kangaroos.